the ones that filed the complaint were not harmed in all this.
Correct. The lady who filed the complaint against me with the Missoula Organization of Realtors has never been a part of our church and has never been a realtor client or a real estate client of mine. And she was offended, I guess, by the statement that we put out that I will email to you, like I said, and filed the complaint with the Missoula Organization of Realtors. And even in her complaint, she says, although I cannot find, and this isn't word for word, I don't have it in front of me, but she talks about, although I cannot find an area of hate speech within anything that she's read or seen, she still filed the complaint with the Missoula Organization of Realtors.
As I recall, December 2nd was the ethics hearing in front of the National Association of Realtors. Was that right?
It's in front of the Missoula Organization of Realtors. It's in front of our local chapter.
So it's in front of the local chapter, but the NAR was in some way somehow involved?
So I don't know, Matthew, do you want to talk about how we brought NAR involved into the complaint?
Sure, I'll go ahead and chime in on that part. The Missoula Organization of Realtors, shortly after we filed our original complaint on November 3rd, they said, oh, don't worry, we're going to hold off. We're going to hold on the ethics hearing in abeyance until the lawsuit is complete. So that ethics hearing is still hanging over Pastor Brandon. It hasn't happened yet. But in the meantime, we discovered some very interesting statements that the National Association of Realtors made with regard to their rule. Specifically, their Professional Standards Committee met in May of 2021, and that was one of the main topics of discussion in that conference was, how do we apply this rule? How do we apply it to people who are of faith? And one of the questions that came up was, well, what happens if someone's in a church, a pastor in a church, reading scriptures that the LGBTQ community might find offensive? And the answer was, that's a violation of the NAR's new ethics rule. That doesn't matter whether you're acting as a realtor or not. Under this new rule, you have no private life. You are subject to this rule 24/7. And if you do anything that offends the LGBTQ community or any member thereof, you have violated their ethics rule. And violations include reciting Bible verses. And so when we discovered that, we decided, well, we're going to add the National Association of Realtors, because they're the ones that are promulgating this ethics code, this so-called ethics code. They're the ones that are requiring all local chapters throughout the nation to follow it and to enforce it on pain of being expelled if they fail to do so. So, and not only have they promulgated this code and are enforcing it, they are interpreting it in a way that is clearly religiously bigoted. And the end game here is to purge Bible-believing Christians from the real estate industry.